So we have confirmation of the thing that we all knew was true anyway.
Zoom fatigue? You were right all along.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh boy.
Slipping the headline in there.
I think I thought this was going to be more controversial. I think we actually ended up agreeing on a lot of things. I was
most of
surprised
things,
by how you conceded to my points of view so readily.
Not what happened at all. Yeah,
No,
it's fine.
No, absolutely not what happened.
That's how it felt to me. What do you mean?
I don't remember that. No.
Mike's bullshitting again, and I get to write the description. So if you want to know what actually happened, just read down below. Anyway, enjoy the episode.
The reason I shared this article about Zoom fatigue is because we've had a conversation a couple times about the difference between in-person relationships and virtual relationships. And I argue that doing everything virtually is a detriment to us as individuals and to corporations. You both took this article and said, yes, we have too many Zoom meetings, that the problem is meetings, not Zoom meetings. So
Agreed.
let's break it down. Let's get into it. No, damn it. I did it Peter's way that time. I just say let's get into it. That's the right delivery.
No.
Sorry. So I remember, feels like eons ago, when I would sit in, I don't know, 3 hour to 4 hours of mixed meetings. So some would be over the phone and others would be in a conference room. And when I'd have heavy days of like half to full days of meetings and calls, that I would get home pooped.
Yeah.
Now Zoom meetings where it's like half to full days, I feel the same exact way. I don't feel worse. I could argue I feel a little bit better because I'm a chronic no camera guy in multi-people meetings. One-on-ones, I don't mind having my camera on, but if there's like 6 or 7 or 8 people, I'm keeping my camera off. So in person, I don't get that
ironic
privilege.
That you do a podcast, but yeah, go on.
I am on camera every
like,
chance I get. I would spend my entire life on camera if I could.
I'll tell you why. It's so that I can like sit in a really comfortable, ugly position.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously where I am now, no matter how I sit, I'm just always looking good. But like at home, like I could be horizontal in my office chair and still be in a meeting. But like in person, like I have to like actually care about my facial expressions. I can't just roll my eyes at something someone says in a meeting, but I do that all the time when it's something I don't agree with. Like I can just do whatever I want versus in-person meetings. I have to like sit proper and like agree or like not be ugly.
You just have to agree in meetings. Oh God.
Ugh.
Pretend to be awake.
Jesus.
Look up from my phone while I'm checking my email, catching up on Discord.
So true.
Which, funnily enough, is one of the things. Okay, so sorry, John, have you finished?
I finished.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Good. I didn't want to cut you off there. So I take umbrage. Yeah, I'm going to take some umbrage today.
Damn.
I take umbrage with your characterization of our views here, Mike, because I don't think what you just claimed that I think. I was interested. So previously, I have always said whatever works. For me personally, online meetings work, and I'm happy with them. And I prefer them over in-person meetings because I find in-person meetings even more draining. But my viewpoint is whatever works. When you pointed out this Zoom fatigue is real article, there's a thing from the IEEE Spectrum. Zoom fatigue is real according to BrainScan. So this is a Zoom fatigue thing has been around. This notion of Zoom fatigue has been around since 2021 at least, from a very quick search earlier on. And I read a few articles about it after Mike posted this in Discord, and there's some actually fairly good points. And one of them, to wrap this back to what we were talking about, what John was talking about, is that having to pay attention and but whilst having multiple distractions around you is one of the things which is why it's Zoom fatigue and not just meeting fatigue, because it's so easy to have your attention distracted. So to be focused on a meeting means that you're actually having to spend more like mental effort to, when you're in a room with other people, there's not much, you can't sit there on your phone. You can't sit there you could sit there staring out the window, but it's much more, there's fewer things to kind of like take your attention away from what's going on. So yeah, we have like notifications, we have the windows, we have our own face looking at us, we have all sorts of things when we're in these meetings. Yeah. And apparently the story from the IEEE spectrum is that it's like brain scans have kind of like confirmed that this effect is actually neurologically happening. It's a physical change in our brains.
Yeah. On-screen distraction, like, yes, there are distractions in the physical room, but you're not sitting there with your email open in one browser and Amazon open in another browser and whatever porn site open in a third browser. Huh? What? Are we doing the show still right now? Let me not to share my screen. Yeah, there were a couple really interesting parts. The idea that people are, if you're in a meeting, people aren't just staring at you for the entire meeting. But if you're on Zoom, like we are now, we're all just all three of us see the other two just staring at us the entire time.
But something I noticed.
I like a but. Yeah, come.
Me too. Something I notice in these group calls, right? Like majority of my colleagues that I'll have calls with, they'll consistently be jumping back and forth. So like they'll be looking at you, then boom, Slack message. And then you see them type, and then they're back into the meeting. And I think that is, to drive the point of the Zoom fatigue thing, that's it right there. Yeah. Is this chronic multi-focus, changing like, oh, I need to think about this, and then back to the meeting. And then think about this, and then back to the meeting. And it's like, in person, 100%, that's not happening. Right, to a degree, I guess, because I remember some people in a meeting would have their laptop in front of them. They'd start typing, right? Like, it's a little bit distracting, but like the same thing, less though, just less. Yeah. So I think it comes down to what fatigues you. For me, as an introvert, as an extroverted introvert, meaning that I don't mind socialization, but when my battery runs out, I'm fucking out the door. So as an introvert, for me, it was really exhausting sitting in those real person, like IRL meetings versus in Zoom. Again, turn my camera off. There's one less thing for me to focus on, because really you do focus on yourself in Zoom meetings. You focus on the way you look. You focus on them. Then you also focus on chat, and then you focus on a notification that popped up, and like it's all these things. So I'm not trying to discredit Zoom fatigue. I feel it for sure. On heavy meeting days, I feel it. I can only imagine what like PMs feel like,
Mike, you want to say something?
Cameras off is a whole separate issue, I think. Like, yeah, it's much less stressful to not have your camera on, but my experience is that's because I'm 90% less likely to be paying attention to what's actually happening in the meeting, because then there's no restrictions on, nobody's looking at me, so I can be checking Slack and I can be checking my email, and I will just listen for somebody to say my name in case I have to respond to anything.
So
unless people from work are listening to this, in which case I am totally paying attention to you because those meetings are very important to me personally, and I respect your time.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, this is going to be brought up in your.
I noticed the slippage. So I was told in my feedback a year or so ago, I got like really good feedback as an employee, and I was told that the only negative is I at times don't participate in big calls.
I hate that one. Oh God.
And to like be more active in your expertise.
Yeah. Be more of a team player, John. Come on,
don't be shy.
Family here.
But listen. Okay, yes, it's easy to shit on this, but to be fair, I mean, I'd sit in 2-hour meetings and I wouldn't say a fucking word, but I had things to say. That was the thing.
I think that's up to the manager, the team lead, the person who's running the meeting to actively encourage people who aren't talking. Give them
That's
ask
what he was
them-
doing. He was giving the feedback. I want you to participate more. Oh my gosh.
No,
I mean,
in the
I don't,
meeting.
and
In the
again,
meeting.
and again, but again,
No.
I was literally given opportunities to participate in my expertise, and I'd be like, sounds good, like
Oh,
I
well,
wouldn't. Yeah, so it was
know,
on me
okay.
for sure. I'm not
All right.
saying that it wasn't,
all right.
and
all right.
like I had to like actively be more of a team player. Honest.
No, I don't think those are the same things. I don't know. I just that being a team player thing really fucks me off because
right.
it's like criticizing people's social skills, and it just upsets me. Can I say
Don't
one thing?
use
though?
the words team player around Peter.
Yeah,
Got it.
Yeah, there's no I in team, right? So
loses
that's
shit.
a bad thing. I want there to be an I in
In time.
No.
Okay.
So what I want to say is about. So I was thinking about this, right? My previous job, where I was working with Mike.
And
I
existed once. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I don't like to think about that period of time though. But anyway, no. John was a great colleague.
Coworker.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Teammate.
Teammate. Yeah.
Time mate.
Time. God. Anyway,
Really a
Time mate.
brother.
That was the
Because
I.
we were
Yeah,
family
go on.
there.
One big happy family.
Just like
Okay,
every
yeah.
company.
Yep, we're done. Go on.
Right. There were times when I had over 20 hours of meetings a week, and it was kind of bonkers. But I did feel very productive because I was trying to think to myself just now, like, why is that? Why did I not completely freak out? And I think it was because I was the one who was scheduling and running most of those meetings. And on one side of the table, it's a very different experience. Most of the people I've seen who are able to like Slack, have entire Slack conversations with someone and run a meeting at the same time are the people who kind of like know what's going on and are just like nudging things around and kind of trying to get to a certain point. But if you're on the other side and you're dragged into another meeting by like your manager or whatever, and you have to do that a whole like 8 times a week, that becomes boring, and because you don't want to be doing it, it's not something that you are necessarily getting something out of. So it's like maybe we should get John in on that meeting. He knows about that. Mike's worked in that area before. We should have him there. That's how a lot of these things happen.
So in your situation, you're saying you didn't have a problem with any of that because you were the one pulling people into unnecessary meetings.
Kinda, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, is what I'm saying.
Cool. So from article, there were some of the research
whose time I wasted.
was interesting. You guys both talked about the eye contact. You referenced looking at yourself in the screen. Another piece that they mentioned that I thought was really interesting is if
I am super vain now. I am way more vain than I used to be 4 years ago.
I never use self view in Zoom.
No, really?
No.
Wait. You can't even see a little box of yourself?
Nope. I turn off self view.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think you're the only person I know who does that.
Nope. I turn it off.
But you're so good looking, Mike. How could you resist?
Because I don't want to be distracted by looking at myself.
Oh, I see. Because you're so good looking.
He's so good looking.
Okay. That makes
No,
much
but I
more
mean,
sense.
because I
to
think I
not
would
look
be
at
self-conscious about how, I don't know why. I can't avoid it here when we record. I'm looking at us
Sure.
in the teleprompter because I need to know what's being recorded and am I on the right scene and all that stuff. But when I'm in a meeting, I don't want to be distracted by seeing myself in the thing.
Wow.
So I always turn off self view. But the other one I thought was really interesting is they talked about how if you are meeting one-on-one with somebody and you have their full picture, their face is generally portrayed at a size that perceptually you would equate with being closer to somebody with a higher level of intimacy than you would normally have with a coworker. So it actually feels like you and I would be sitting like this far apart from each other.
Right.
Right, exactly. When we would never touch
It actually
noses like
drives
that in
me-
real life.
yeah.
I mean, you and I,
It
Peter,
actually
would,
dri-
but not normal
It
with
drives
coworkers.
me bananas when people are like as close to the camera as Peter is right now. Like
Damn,
coming
that
from
was
someone
uncomfortable.
who's invested almost
Sorry.
over
For our-
$1,000 into
for
their
our-
camera setup.
For our
It
audio
drives me
listeners,
crazy.
Peter's just trying to make out with the lens.
Yeah, for our
I did-
two audio listeners. But like I am, in the last couple of years, you guys kind of witnessed my descent into madness when it came to AV.
Mhm.
Cycling through multiple camera setups, lighting, this, that.
You're
I
welcome.
put so much effort and time into not even looking, but into the actual setup looking the best that it could.
This is
I get kind of disappointed in people when they come on, they turn their camera on,
yeah.
and like it's like a top up or down, like bottom up view
We just
because
see,
they're
like,
on their
the top.
fucking laptop,
Yeah. Oh,
or
I've
they've
got
got
a new thing.
they've got the side view.
Yeah.
They're looking at me. I'm over here.
Yes.
Bro.
Oh my god.
What are you
Oh
doing?
yes, Queen. Oh my god. That really annoys me. People who
Oof, drives me bananas.
Oh, do you know what I got though? Do you know what I just ordered for myself? Which I
Huh.
don't know if this clicked before. Why this didn't click before? So my camera is up there, which is sitting on top of the monitor, which is a
Yeah.
very classic setup, I think.
Sure.
But it does annoy me that when I look at myself, I'm looking slightly down, right?
Uh-huh.
And I've always thought, oh, but that's just I know that there's been some like AI changes. Apple had a thing
Yeah.
where or
NVIDIA.
NVIDIA or something, but you can't have a camera that's coming out of the middle of the monitor. But I have just ordered a camera stand, and I'm going to put it in front of the thingy,
Oh wow.
in front of my monitor, and
I love that.
and then use picture in picture, and it will be just above. Yeah, so I think I'm going to
Oh my
solve
God.
that problem
Yeah,
soon.
I like it. I
Yeah.
like it.
So I have that problem at home. My camera setup is quite high. No matter where I look on the monitor, it's never looking directly into the camera. Like
Yeah, it's
right
annoying.
now, I'm looking at myself. It looks like I'm looking at the camera, but I can't fix that at home. My camera is like this big with a lens and everything.
Yeah,
So like that's just not happening. And I'm okay with that. Like I don't need to look directly into the camera.
it annoys me.
Eventually, I'll probably start using that NVIDIA technology when it's good enough.
I do for the podcast. At work, I don't worry about it too much. I try and get it close for the reasons Peter mentioned, but I actually use a teleprompter to record the show so that I can look at the camera and see you guys
Wow.
at the same time, because that is important to me.
Should I get a little teleprompter?
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's amazing. The distance from the camera has a lot to do with that eye contact also, because the farther away the camera is, the more you can like cheat that little bit, like you were talking about, and which is another downfall of a webcam, because it's typically at arm's distance away from you, so it's harder to get away with that.
Peter. I hate it. I despise it.
Yeah.
The worst is when they're not looking at you. If you were at an angle but you'd still look at me, I'm cool with that. But the fact that you're looking over, what the fuck are you looking at over there? You know?
looking at you.
Bananas.
Here's my tip for anybody who's on camera: is glancing is worse than just turning your head and looking. If you want to like look at something on your screen,
God,
don't just
so
like
true.
glance and try and look out the side, because that's super weird. Just like
So
turn your head
true.
and look straight at it. It's much
Just look.
less distracting. If you think you're being
Also, it's okay to
sly
not
by,
look.
like not
Also,
looking at somebody.
what I do all the time is like sometimes I'll just stop looking at the person. I'll just like fiddle with something. You know, I have a piece of paper. I'm just like doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's what you would do in
I
real
don't
life.
need to
actually.
fucking look at you. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm still talking to you. I'm still paying attention to you. You know,
No. We should do a top tips on video stuff, because that's what this fucking thing turned
just
into.
meeting. Yeah, just meetings in general.
yeah.
But yeah, we should
Anyway.
probably cut it.
Well,
My
yeah,
God,
let's turn
18
into a long
minutes.
episode. Damn.
Subscribe. Go on. Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah,
Bye.
do so.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
I
God,
started
this
it again.
thing
Now we gotta wait.
Yeah,
for the
just wait
animation
for it
go.
to finish. He's gonna like it and then like it and then
Yep. And now we're done.